Okay, we're back with Minurikawa and Miku. At this point, of course, Miku is still working at the Bright club, whatever. But we've read all of this already, right? I mean, it's... yeah, the show pub, okay. It's a place where you can watch girls fight. I'd love that. Sounds pretty fun, yes. Come on, give me something new, game. I'm the reigning champion, she says with the most beautiful smile in the world. Yes, catch you later. Then she headed into the shop as Minurikawa rushed off towards the sales demo. So this time she isn't going to carry us, of course. She's going inside the shop. At long last, he arrived at the Nokani building where the event was being held. Let's see what happens from Minurikawa's point of view. The wall by the elevator was plastered with posters about Burning Hammer. Get it or regret it. As seen in magazines. 100% weight loss guaranteed. The messaging was kind of a mess. It felt like they'd been thrown together at the last minute. Minurikawa avoided the elevator in favor of stairs rushing up to the event site on the 3rd floor. We've read all of this already again. Emerging from the stairwell, he saw more posters on the wall pointing the way to the sales demo. He followed the arrows to a room deeper within the building. There he is. Opening the door, he saw about 50 chairs, most of them occupied by female attendees. There was a stage set up at the far end of the room, but nobody was on it. It appeared that the event had yet to begin. Minurikawa quickly looked over the crowd. Roughly half of the women here were somewhat elderly. All of them looked like they could stand to do some weight. And for some of them at least, that ship had surely sailed some time ago. The crowd gazed at the stage with rapt anticipation. A beverage that allowed you to eat plenty and still lose weight was definitely an appetizing proposition. Could something like that really exist there? Oh well, Minurikawa was just going to have to wait and see. He did his best to get his mind into journalism mode. Time passed, but the demo didn't start. The audience began grumbling in frustration. Then, a heavy-set young woman took the stage and gave a little bow. It's... oh god, what's her name? Is it Chiaki or... oh, something like that. I always confuse these two, but I can only remember one name. His journalistic friend and the cute girl from Burning Hammer. It was girl from the cafe, the one with the amazing appetite. The audience broke into applause, their patience finally rewarded. But as everyone leaned forward expectantly, the girl on stage began performing magic tricks. She twiddled a silk hat and pulled a bunch of flowers from inside. Damn. I like how they're excited by this. Sparse applause rose up from the crowd. The young woman immediately went on to perform another trick and then another. Ta-da! A coin in her hand became 3 coins as she spoke her magic words. She's not very good at this, Minurikawa thought. Though whether she was good or bad wasn't really the issue. He had a tight schedule to keep. This was no time to stand around watching silly sleight of hand antics. Scanning the room, he spotted a man who looked like he was probably in charge. Minurikawa headed over to him. Hey, are you the one running this thing? Well, yes. When's the actual sales demo going to start? Soon, very soon, yep. In how many minutes? Soon. I asked for a number. Just, soon, real soon. This was getting him nowhere. 3 minutes, Minurikawa declared. He held up 3 fingers to emphasize his point. If this thing doesn't start in 3 minutes. If it doesn't start, then what? I'm going to be heartbroken. I'm going to start a ruckus. I'm just gonna go home. I think starting a ruckus is what Yanagishita bothers the most. I'm going to start a ruckus. He kept his voice firm, his words short and clipped. Hey now, no need for that, sir. Just settle down. Who doesn't like a silly little magic show now and then? You've got 2 minutes. Hey, a minute can't have passed already. 1 minute. Whoa, just what kind of watch you got there? Tell me why the demo isn't starting. No real reason really. The man was getting seriously flustered. I wanted folks to get to see a little magic show first. Nope. Try again. 30 seconds left. Okay, alright. What happened is, the required merchandise, What happened to the merchandise? Minurikawa demanded. He gave the guy a dagger stare. Oh, well, you know, it's just... Time's up. What? The man's face went pale. Oh, wow. Okay, so I think we have to do the jump now. To clear this keep out. Which is fine, since... It's essentially two routes going parallel to each other. Why do we have to still do the jump then? Where is it? Is it... no, this is the jump to Achi, I think. Was this a jump to Achi? No, this is the crowd. So yeah, this is another jump. An unfamiliar man. This is after she comes in. Yes, of course, so... Oh, probably at exact the same moment he was gonna say your time's up. Ah, amazing. A man I don't recognize. Jump. Yes. Come on. Clear this keep out. I really like this little mechanic. It spices up the flow sometimes. Sometimes it's weird and feels tacked on, but sometimes it also feels rewarding in a sense. I don't know. Oops, sorry to keep you waiting, a girlish voice exclaimed. A moment later, a furry figure came charging into the demo room. The crowd fell silent at the sight of a young woman in a cat costume. Did they just assume her gender? The cat girl panted visibly. Her arms were loaded with cardboard boxes. You're late, the event organizer snapped. What the heck have you been doing? Grabbing the newcomer by one paw, he vanished with her into the back room. The chubby-cheeked girl wrapped up her magic routine and hurried after them. The audience stared at the now empty stage in confusion. Several minutes passed before the organizer reappeared. Ladies, terribly sorry to have kept you waiting, he called out. But now, I'm proud to introduce to you the worldwide sensation that is Burning Hammer. At his signal, the young woman and the cat appeared on stage. I love how they show this scene from a different angle now. And you get to see it not closer, but slightly further away, and I don't know how to explain this. It just feels... It feels nice somehow. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's my autism and repetition makes me happy. I don't know. Allow us to explain just how this revolutionary new diet drink works its magic, the young woman exclaimed cheerily. The cat nodded and threw out her arms. For the first time in human history, you can drink a single bottle and lose a whole kilogram. Just drink and burn it excess weight away. And with that, the sales demo was underway, a good 25 minutes behind schedule. 5 minutes into the presentation, things began to go awry. An angry clamor filled the room. What the heck are you trying to pull? I can't believe you'd actually try to sell something like this. It only took them 5 minutes, Jesus. The outrage had been triggered by something the young woman on stage had said. She'd inadvertently let slip that Burning Hammer was the sort of thing you could buy at a 100 yen shop. The would-be customers were furious to learn that they were about to be played for suckers. Most of them had immediately tried to storm out of the room. Now the organizer, the full-figured young woman, and the girl in the cat costume were at the door, doing their best to hold back the tide. Things had gotten pretty interesting, really. Minurikawa pulled out his digital camera and started firing off snapshots of the angry crowd. Okay, we don't need to read this up, really. Unfortunately, their frenzy was so intense that he was soon caught up with the flow and pushed out of the room. Oh no. Fine. I guess I'll just need to do some interviews instead of getting pictures. Oh, please give me more snapshots like that. Excuse me, he asked one woman. Would you mind if I ask you some... Shut your mouth! Oh god! Who's taking the picture there? Would you mind telling me a little about... Don't you talk to me? Could I get a word on... Unbelievable, just unbelievable! The woman was so enraged that Minurikawa couldn't get any of them to give him the time of day. Oh... This is the reason why I keep playing this game, I think. It's moments like these that just make me laugh. Before long, the entire crowd had surged out of the room and departed. Ah, well, guess I've got enough to do a write-up at least. though it would be nice to get a quote from somebody. He decided to try for an interview with the man who'd organized this fiasco. How did the guy feel, for instance? About his product scam falling through? I guess this is where he meets Tama one last time, gives her a nod. Heading back into the event room, Minurikawa passed by the cat mascot. And this is where we jump to continue on, maybe. The cat gave him a tiny nod and walked off without a word. He couldn't see the face of the girl inside the costume, but she seemed genuinely dejected that Burning Hammer had been a bust. Hey, I'm Minoru Minurikawa, freelance reporter. I was wondering if I could have 5 minutes of your time. The organizer sat alone in the midst of his ruined displays. Oh, it's you! The man's voice had lost all of its earlier punch. Here, my credentials. Minurikawa handed him a business card. The man introduced himself as Yanagishita, and Minurikawa got right down to business. So, your sales demo is over, Mr. Yanagishita. How do you feel right now? How do I feel? Well, tomorrow is another day, I guess. Minurikawa was impressed by the guy's candor. I'm a little surprised to hear that, he said. I figured you'd be more disappointed. Oh, I'm plenty disappointed. I took a big gamble here to repay my debts, and I lost. Yanagishita didn't seem to be trying to hide anything. Debts? Minurikawa asked. There was a girl I was in love with, Yanagishita said. Oh, is he in love with Miku? I wound up spending everything on her. Oh, he stared wistfully into the distance. I understand that, Yanagishita. But never go into debt because of a woman, seriously. Interesting, Minurikawa said. You wouldn't be the first man to go to such lengths for a woman. Yeah, Yanagishita said. I suppose not. A rueful smile crossed his lips. This guy didn't strike Minurikawa as some dyed-in-the-wool scam artist. But I decided that it was time to stop feeling sorry for myself, Yanagishita went on. There are plenty of people in the world who have it way worse off, you know? You got that right. Minurikawa nodded in agreement. So I just figure, well, as long as I'm still alive, maybe another opportunity will come my way. A more earnest smile broke through Yanagishita's forlorn expression. Minurikawa wished Toyama could have been there to hear this fellow. Damn. Seriously, Yanagishita is pretty optimistic. I have a friend who's in an incredible amount of debt myself, Minurikawa said. He runs a publishing company, but there was a big mix-up with the scratch cards in his magazine and... Scratch cards? It's not important, Minurikawa said hurriedly. Letting more people know about the whole scratch card fiasco certainly wouldn't do Toyama any favors. Anyhow, debt is a terrible thing, Minurikawa nodded sagely. Oh, by the way, this is unrelated, but are you familiar with a group called SOS? Apparently there's some legendary street gang here in Shibuya. SOS? Yanagishita shook his head. No, never heard of them. Guess I'm not gonna get any leads on that case here. Minurikawa wondered if there was anything else worth asking this guy. Maybe Yanagishita would be willing to take his Shibuya Now survey? No, nothing really came to mind. It was about time to wrap this up. Let's take the survey with him, come on. I don't know what this changes. Taking a little bit of the burden off of Chiaki seemed like a good idea. Chiaki and what's the other name? Chiaki and... Fuck, why the fuck can't I remember their names? It's because they're so goddamn similar. I have another question. How do you feel about your life right now? Huh? How do you feel about your life? Your products aren't selling. You can't repay your debts. And yet you still refuse to give up, believing opportunity will come your way. How do you feel about all that? Yanagishita paused in thought. Look at his face. Look at his fucking chin. How can one man have a chin so sharp? I'd say I'm a pretty lucky guy. Minurikawa was taken somewhat aback by that response. I haven't been able to sell any Burning Hammer. And sure, I can pay off my debts, but even so... Yanagishita looked Minurikawa right in the eye. The two cute young girls I've got working for me have stuck with me through thick and thin. Sometimes, maybe you just need to be content with something like that, you know? Oh, he's right. That was refreshingly forthright. Minurikawa was surprised. And I mean, so what if I got debts? Yanagishita went on. In the long run, none of that matters. Not really. Oh, there was a knock at the door. It's the collectors. Oh, excuse me a moment, Yanagishita said. I wonder who that could be. He opened the door and his face froze. Damn, wasn't quite quick enough. Mr. Minurikawa? Yes. You'll have to pardon me. I've had a little something crop up here, so if you don't mind. Oh, sure, not a problem. I've got other interviews I need to get to anyway, so I'll just... But Yanagishita was out the door before Minurikawa could even finish. Stepping out into the hallway, Minurikawa could faintly hear voices from the adjoining demo room. It sounded like Mr. Yanagishita and two other men. Minurikawa couldn't make out any words, but he could tell they were arguing about something. It was probably some consumer complaint against one of his products, or an issue with a client company. Something along those lines. Man, people who run companies sure have it rough. You hang in there, Mr. Yanagishita. I think he's getting extorted out of his money right now. Oh, perfect timing. Oh, it's him. Perfect timing! Minurikawa stopped short as a familiar voice called out to him. It was the man he'd spoken to earlier that afternoon about the surveillance cameras. Hey, come here for a sec. The man waved him over. What is it? I'm really busy right now. I've got a scoop for ya. I saw it with my own eyes. Minurikawa raised an eyebrow. Give me the details. Okay, so a little while ago, I saw some foreign guy in handcuffs arguing with someone who looked like a detective. A foreigner in handcuffs? Had there been some kind of international sting or something? Whatever the case, it wasn't such a rare thing to see. Where was this? Just over there, behind the police station. Minurikawa furrowed his brow. A suspect arguing with a cop outside a police station wasn't all that weird. Still, he had a feeling he was missing something here. Well, the big thing is what happened afterward, the man said. Afterward? The man leaned in conspiratorially. What? The detective undid the guy's handcuffs and let him run off. What? Well, what? I'm telling you, man. It had to have been, like, a bribe or something. A bribe? It seemed unlikely. I swear that's what it had to be. There was some wheel greasing going on. Oh god, my voice is dying. I'm really sorry. It's really hard to separate these two voices for me. And my throat is also anyway. You're not making this all up, are you? Minurikawa asked. He regarded the man coldly, but the guy still seemed quite legitimately worked up. It's all true. Please, you have to report this to the police right away. Why do I have to? Minurikawa asked. If you have a tip for the police, go give it yourself. He didn't quite manage to stop himself from saying that out loud. No, I can't. I'm no good when it comes to police. Besides, they're never gonna believe someone like me. Okay, so maybe he had a point there. But you're some world-class reporter, right? The cops will totally take your word over that of a random nobody. Minurikawa didn't have time to debate the point. It was easier just to make the call. He phoned up the police to leave the tip. The man bowed repeatedly, looking pretty grateful. So what was this about? I wonder if we'll learn later on. Oh, thank you so much. I haven't been able to get any business done with those scary fucks around. What fucks? What line of business are you in anyway? Well, the man suddenly went pale. Whoops, I gotta get going. He skidded off in a laugh. Minurikawa was left to wonder what this guy's line of work actually was. But he had more important things to worry about at the moment. He hurried off in the other direction. Before long he arrived back at Café L'Entrée. The clock on the wall showed that it was close to 2 o'clock. Wow! We're almost finished with Minurikawa now? He had to somehow fill 6 more pages before the loan company came to Heaven Publishing to collect. He booted up his laptop. What's with this coffee shop? Said a low stern voice. You've got no good magazines here. Minurikawa looked up. Who is it? Ah, it's Kanu's fiancé's father, isn't it? An older man was complaining to one of the waitresses. It was the same guy who'd been yelling at his daughter earlier. Evidently he'd been here at the cafe this whole time. Haven't you got any magazines for me to read? The man's face was a mask of irritation. Was this his voice? I can't remember. Minori glanced at the magazines in the rack. They were mostly geared toward a younger reader. The waitress sifted through the stacks and pulled something from the bag. Perhaps this would be to your liking, sir, she said. She held out an issue of 4-star general gossip. Don't be ridiculous, the man spat dismissively. This is vulgar, low-grade filth. I wouldn't even use the paper it's printed on for compass. It was a harsh way to put it, but Minori couldn't fault him for speaking the truth. Damn, the man continued grumbling as he went back to his seat. How about you talk to your fucking daughter instead of reading a magazine? Minori headed over to the magazine rack himself and picked up the gossip. He opened the front cover and found a scratch card still inserted within. If these things were still out there, it was bad news. Toyama might end up even further in debt. Bah! Minori yanked the scratch card out and tore it to bits. So what are you doing? The waitress rushed to stop him, only for the pieces to rain down on her like confetti. The magazine itself is still perfectly readable, Minori said. There's no problem here. He strolled back to his seat and gazed at his laptop screen. Why did you have to make a mess though? It still hadn't finished booting up. In the meantime, he decided to give Chiaki a call. Moshi Moshi, Chiaki? She picked up right away. Hello? Minori asked. Hi there, good to hear from you, Chiaki replied. How's progress? I did it, Chiaki said, her voice overcome with emotion. I managed to get people to hear me out. Course you did. You got your pointers from me. Yes, I couldn't have done it without you, Mr. Mino. Her mood had done a complete 180. Minori allowed himself a little sigh of relief. Okay then, he said. Head back to the editing department and put together an article for me. You got it, sir, Chiaki chirped in reply. I'll email you as soon as I'm done with... I'll email you as soon as I'm done with things on my end, Minori told her. Just use the DTP to slot your piece into the right spot in the layout. What's that mean? Abbreviation for desktop publishing. Refers to the process of editing a manuscript's layout on a computer preparatory to sending it to the printer, also used to refer to the software used for creating such layouts. Creating layout data that is ready for printing but has not actually been printed yet is also sometimes called DTP. I should have known since I've actually already worked with software like this in the past. Anyway, sure thing. Minori hung up then rolled up his sleeves. Oh, he sure was towing a pretty narrow line today. Don't do that. The Burning Hammer event had kept him a lot longer than anticipated. Now he needed to clean up his copy as soon as possible in order to stick to his schedule. When he turned back towards his laptop, however, he froze with shock. What? His laptop monitor was still a black empty screen. There's no way it would take it this long to finish booting up. Oh, it couldn't be. No, don't let it be true. Had this computer decided to pick now of all times to give up the ghost? Minori felt the blood drain from his face. Bad end? No? Keep out? TBC? It's a TBC finished with Minori for this hour block. Nice. One dude down. And see you next time when we continue with someone else. I don't know who. One of these guys. There's a keep out on Osamu, so this means we will continue with him a little bit more. Anyway, bye.